On Thanksgiving, my sister hurled a plate at me after I refused to let her and her triplets move into my home. Have you ever had your family, your own mother, tell you to your face, "Don't call me your mom anymore," all because you dared to say no, for the first time in your life? And then, to make it worse, they think they can just move into your house? My blood still boils just thinking about it. What would you do when the people you love most cross every line imaginable, and you realize you've had enough? So listen, my name is Derek. I'm 32. I'm a journalist. I'm that quiet, oldest kid who learned early to write things down because no one in my family ever listened when I spoke. For a living, I cover city budgets and housing scams. People joke that I can smell a grift like coffee. In my family, that's not a joke, it's a survival skill. I own a small 2-bedroom house, saved for 7 years to buy it. I pay my taxes on time. I keep receipts. I fix my own leaky sink because paying someone else felt like a luxury I couldn't afford. I'm the one who gets the 2 a.m., "Can you help?" calls. I'm the one who always shows up. My sister, Carla, she's 29. She's a single mom of triplets. 3 loud, sticky, beautiful toddlers who deserve the world. And a mother, my mother Lorna, who thinks I am the world's wallet. Mom runs logistics like a general, but only when it benefits Carla. Dad. He floats somewhere in the background like a TV left on, all noise, no action. Thanksgiving at Mom's is always loud. Turkey, plastic tablecloths, folding chairs. Cranberry sauce that keeps the ridges of the can like a badge. We don't do prayers. We do speeches that sound suspiciously like invoices. It started when I just put down the pumpkin pie. Carla leaned over my plate, casual but sharp. "You'll give us your spare room this month. The lease is a mess. We're moving in Sunday." I just blinked. That's my office, and my house isn't baby-proofed for 3 toddlers. Mom cut in dismissive. "Don't be dramatic. You can write at the kitchen table." I actually laughed. Just once. No. The room went completely still. The triplets, oblivious, banged plastic spoons on their high chairs like a drum roll. Carla's voice dropped, laced with indignation. "You're seriously saying no to your family?" "Yes," I said. "We agreed I'd co-sign advice, not mortgages. You've had my couch twice already. I'm not a landlord." Carla's jaw tightened. Then, before I could even react, she lifted a plate, gravy, stuffing, all of it, and threw it. It hit the wall right beside my head and slid down in a sickening brown streak. "You're such an egoist," she screamed. "You live alone with 2 bedrooms while we're drowning." Mom didn't flinch. She just stared at me and said, cold as ice, "Don't call me your mom anymore if you're going to act like a stranger." Forks paused midair. Dad instinctively reached for the remote, as if he could change the channel on his own life. I just wiped gravy off my sleeve. I smiled. Because sometimes, that's the only thing that keeps you from exploding. I stood up, walked to the porch and called my lawyer. "Nah. Everything is just as you said," I told her quietly. "Activate the plan." From the kitchen, Carla shouted, "He's calling his lawyer on us." I hung up and came back to the table. No speeches now. Just breathing. No one noticed the tiny red light on the baby monitor camera, pointed right at the dining room. Still recording from earlier. I'd set it up to keep the kids from wandering into the stove. Turns out it kept the adults honest too. 20 minutes later, phones started dinging in the living room. No one checked them. Not yet. If you ask my family, I changed when I bought my house. If you ask my bank app, I changed the day I stopped being a walking overdraft fee. I grew up paying for things that weren't mine. Senior year, my grad fee bounced because Mom accidentally used my account number for a cable bill. First year out of college, I split a 1-bedroom with a roommate and still sent Carla $200 a month because diapers. When the triplets were born, I took night shifts to cover her hospital parking passes. I didn't mind then. She was scared. I was proud to help. But help became default. Default became duty. Duty became debt. My phone is full of little messages that tell the whole story. "Derek, can you spot me $60 for formula?" "Derek, we need $300 for a new stroller. The old one is bad for their hips." "Hey, can you switch the utilities into your name for a week?" My credit is weird. My credit was fine, until it wasn't. Carla lived with me twice. The first time, 3 months. The second time, 5. It cost me a security deposit on a place the landlord said was kid-friendly, and turned out to be kid-allergic. Holes patched with toothpaste, crayons on every wall. I painted over rainbows at midnight because the landlord did surprise inspections like it was a game show. When they moved out the second time, I promised myself, never again. I even wrote it in my notes app like a binding contract. I told Mom plainly. She just said, "We'll see." Then came the new crisis. Carla signed a lease with a boyfriend who disappeared before the ink dried. She couldn't cover rent, plus daycare, plus car payment. She asked me to move in with her for a while and pay the difference. I said I'd help with a budget, find a cheaper place, call the county about childcare vouchers. She heard one word: no. A budget to Carla sounds like a diet to a foodie. She wants results without changing a thing. In our family group chat, Mom posted a photo of my house and wrote, "Plenty of space. Family first." Relatives reacted with hearts like they were voting on a talent show. No one asked me. I said, "No one is moving into my home. I love you. I will help you find resources." Mom replied, "Resources? We are your resource." Carla added, "Don't lecture me, reporter boy. That's the other thing. I write about public corruption. I'm careful. I keep copies. I skin documents like a hobby. When Mom says, 'You owe us,' I hear, 'We want you quiet.'" 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I noticed a $19.99 charge from a kid's game in my bank statement. Then another. Then a $79.99 super PAC. My card was in my wallet. I asked Carla. She sent a shrug emoji and a voice note. They must have clicked something. "Relax. On a card you don't have?" I asked. "Mom had it that one time for groceries," she said. "Maybe later we can just combine accounts so it's simpler." Family plan. I froze. "Oh, wow," she texted back. "You're obsessed with money." I started getting friend requests from her landlord, her daycare, a bouncer from a bar near her block. Then a text from an unknown number. "This is Mike from Best Value Auto. Carla said you're the guarantor. She's behind." I called Carla. She said, "Don't freak out. They just send those." I said, "They send those to guarantors. I never signed anything." That's when my reporter brain lit up. I pulled my file box from the closet. I flipped through leases, utility bills, any form with my name. In a subfolder labeled Emergency, I found a photocopy of my driver's license I had once sent to Mom to add me as an emergency contact at a clinic. Someone had written my SSN on a sticky note and stuck it to the page. The sticky note was gone. I felt sick. I changed passwords. I called the bank. I put a fraud alert on my credit. I called my lawyer, Na, who handles tenant rights stories with me and moonlights as the friend who says, "Document everything. Do not confront." "Not yet," Na said. "Let them say it first." "It's Thanksgiving," I said. "All the better," she replied. "Everyone together. Everyone honest." The message from Mom came 2 days before the dinner. "Your cousin Luke can take your office if it's too hard for the triplets. He starts a new job Monday and needs a place near the bus." A chorus of "So generous of you, Derek," followed. I hadn't agreed to anything. I replied, "No. Carla. Derek, don't be petty. It's temporary." Me, temporary is how I lost 2 years of savings. Mom called. "You're cold," she said. "Family sacrifice is how we survive." "I sacrificed my 20s, I said. "I'm done." Silence, then a hiss. "If you shut your door on your sister and her babies, don't call me your mother." I didn't plan to call her anything. I planned to eat turkey, say hello to the triplets and keep my mouth closed. Not texted, "Remember, let them talk. Record nothing illegally. And if they escalate, we follow through." "Follow through with what?" I asked. "You'll see," she texted. "Just keep your hands clean." The morning of Thanksgiving, I brought pie, set up the baby monitor facing the stove, because kids and burners are a bad mix, and told myself, no arguments. Then Carla told the room she'd be moving in Sunday. Then I said no. Then a plate flew. Then Mom pulled out the biggest weapon she has, shame. I didn't raise my voice. I wiped my sleeve and walked to the porch to call Na. She answered on the first ring. "Everything is just as you said," I told her. "Okay," she said. "Activate the plan. Number 1, boundaries. Number 2, truth. Number 3, legal. Smile, eat dinner, and leave on time." 20 minutes, she said, and you'll hear the first domino. The first ding came from the living room TV, not a phone. Dad had cast the baby monitor feed to the screen earlier so everyone could watch the kids while they ate. He forgot to turn it off. The monitor had been recording to the cloud since morning. Public space. Obvious camera. Blinking red light. Visible. Dumb but legal. The TV flashed a thumbnail. New clip saved. 12:41 p.m. to 1:09 p.m. Carla's voice from an hour earlier filled the room. Casual, laughing, recorded from the kitchen. "Don't worry," she'd said to Mom on that clip. "If Derek says no, we'll just move in anyway. He melts when the boys cry." Worst case, we change his locks while he's at work. Like last time. Mom's voice, he'll forgive you. He always does. And if he gets loud, I'll tell the cousins he's having a breakdown. The room went dead quiet. Aunt Teresa looked at me. Uncle Joe looked at the ceiling like it had answers. Carla lunged for the remote. Dad got there first, hand shaking. He fumbled the buttons and only made it louder. On the recording, Carla kept going. I already used his card once. He didn't even notice. I felt my throat close. Mom's voice again, delete the alerts. He doesn't check. Another ding. Everyone's phones now. Na had just emailed me. And apparently Mom. Copies of texts I'd sent over the past year offering childcare resources. Messages where I'd said no politely, and replies where Mom and Carla had laughed in the group chat about Operation Guilt. Na had compiled a neat PDF. I didn't ask how she got the screenshots from relatives. People are braver than you think when they watch someone throw a plate at you. Carla pointed at me. You set us up. I brought pie, I said. You hit me with dinnerware. Mom stood chin lifted. Enough, she said. You're making this bigger than it is. Is it? I asked. Because I think adding me as a guarantor without my consent is big. I think using my card is big. I think planning to change my locks is large. Aunt Teresa whispered, guarantor? I took a breath. Mike from Best Value Auto called me, I said, keeping my voice flat. He had a copy of my license with a sticky note that used to have my SSN, the one I sent Mom for a clinic form last year. I shifted to Mom. She didn't blink. You're making me the villain, she said. I'm making a list, I said. Lists aren't villains. Carla slammed her palm on the table. We're your family. You owe us. Here are the numbers, I said, sliding my phone across the table. In the last 12 months, $1,286 in emergencies for your apartment. $1,190 in food deliveries to your address when you said you couldn't cook. $679 in subscriptions you somehow signed up on my card. I paid for your daycare late fees twice. I replaced the screen door your kids ran through. I took them to the ER when you couldn't find an Uber. I did it because I love them and I love you. But love isn't a debit card. This is cruelty, Mom said on Thanksgiving. This is a boundary, I said, on any day. Carla grabbed her coat. We're moving in Sunday, she said, breathless, wild. Try and stop me. You won't get in, I said. You returned your key. The locks are changed. Her eyes flicked to Mom. You have a key. I did, Mom said slowly, realizing something. I watched realization wash across her face like a shadow. I do. Check your purse, I said. She did. Inside her purse was an empty key ring and a note in Na's neat handwriting. Keys are not commitments. Mom's lips thinned. You're unbelievable. Better than unforgivable, I said. The triplets started to fuss. Dad finally stood, half-hearted, murmuring, let's settle down. No one listened. I took my coat. I'm leaving before dessert, I said. I don't feel safe here. Run away. Mom spat. I didn't run. I walked. In the hall, my phone buzzed again. Nah. Step 3. Ready. Want to proceed? I looked back at my family through the doorway. My mother's tight smile, my sisters shaking hands, the small boys rubbing sleepy eyes, and I said, yes. The next morning, my doorbell rang at 7:13 a.m. Not a friendly tap. Full-armed, urgent, a drumbeat. I watched the camera feed from my phone. Mom on the porch. Carla on the sidewalk. 2 suitcases. 3 kids strapped into a triple stroller like a tiny parade. I didn't open the door. Mom pulled out her phone. 20 seconds later, my phone buzzed with a call, then another. I let them go to voicemail. A text from Carla. We're outside. Let us in. Me. No, Carla. We'll call the cops and say you're keeping our things. Me. You have no things here. Mom texted the group chat. Your brother has locked his sister and her babies in the cold. 3 cousins reacted with angry faces. Then Na dropped a message into the same chat from my number that I'd approved the night before. A scanned letter on firm letterhead, addressed to Mom and Carla, time-stamped and sent by certified mail, stating clearly that 1. They are not tenants. 2. They do not have permission to reside at my address. 3. Any attempt to enter would be unlawful. And 4. Any further unauthorized charges will be prosecuted. Below it, screenshots of Carla's own messages about changing my locks and using my card. The chat went silent. Then Aunt Teresa typed, Lorna, this is too far. Uncle Joe added, you can't just move into someone's house. My cousin Luke, future office squatter, left the chat entirely. Mom banged the door again. I spoke through the intercom. Mom, I will help you find an emergency shelter with family rooms for the weekend and a legal aid clinic on Monday. I will drive you there. I will buy diapers. I will not let you move in. You're heartless, she said. I have a heart, I said. It's just not for rent. Carla cried. Real tears, real fear. I almost opened the door. Then my phone buzzed with a notification from my credit union. Attempted login from a new device. I stared at the screen. I stared at my front door. I pressed the intercom. Na filed the fraud report, I said softly. Stop. Carla stopped crying. She went flat. That hard, tired tone I had heard on the baby monitor. So it's war. It's not, I said. It's a ceasefire with rules. She walked away pushing the stroller. Mom stayed quiet now then left too. 10 minutes later she posted on Facebook, some people forget who rocked them as babies. Na texted me, do not respond. We activated the rest of the plan. First, the practical stuff. I called the daycare and paid 2 weeks ahead anonymously through their portal so the boys wouldn't be punished for adult choices. I sent Carla a gift card that worked only at the grocery store and pharmacy, not for cash. I forwarded her a list of subsidized apartments and a contact at a nonprofit that helps single parents with deposits. I blocked charges from my cards to any of her known merchants. I turned on two-factor for everything. I put a freeze on my credit that needed my voice to lift. Then the personal. I wrote an email to the whole family. Not a manifesto, no cursing, no heat, just facts. Hi, yesterday a plate was thrown at me for saying no. The baby monitor recorded a conversation about changing my locks and using my card. I have reported fraud. Going forward, I will not house adults. I will not be a guarantor. I will not send cash. I will pay for specific needs for the children directly. Diapers, food, daycare. If you try to involve my employer, my address, or my property in any way, I will call the police. I love my nephews. I do not love being used. Sincerely, Derek. Reactions came fast. And Teresa, proud of you. Cousin Maya, what do the kids need this week? Uncle Joe, I can store Carla's couch for a month. And then of course Mom, you shamed your family. I didn't reply. By noon Na called. 2 updates, she said. 1. Your bank reversed the charges. 2. Best Value Auto admitted they were fed an unauthorized copy of your ID. They're backing off and the landlord got our letter. He's very sorry he misunderstood your role, she said, sarcasm heavy. He also forwarded me something. Thought we should know. She sent me an attachment, a PDF of a roommate agreement Carla had made herself, with my name typed in as the responsible party. It had my signature badly forged, a straight line, not the messy tangle I've had since middle school. Check the metadata, I said. On it, she said. But we don't even need it. The baby monitor audio about changing locks is enough for a restraining order if they try to force entry. I don't want that, I said, stomach turning. I just want this to stop. That's what restraining orders are for, Na said gently. Stopping. Over the weekend, Mom tested new angles. She called my editor at the paper and left a voicemail about my unstable behavior. My editor forwarded it to me with a one-line email. You have the afternoon off. Take care of yourself. He'd seen worse from sources I expose. A mom with a Facebook account isn't going to scare a newsroom. Carla's landlord texted me again, but this time it was different. She's moving to a smaller unit. We have manager help with a discount. Just letting you know because you asked me last spring to tell you if she got in trouble. I had asked. Good. At night, when the house got too quiet, guilt would creep in, soft-footed. I'd picture the boys lined up like ducklings and hear Mom's, "You were rocked" line. I'd pace the kitchen. I'd open the freezer and stare at ice cubes like answers might form in them. But then I'd check my bank app and feel air rush back into my lungs. The balance was stable. No surprise leaks. For the first time in months, nothing was slipping away without my consent. On Monday, I drove Carla to meet with the nonprofit caseworker. She didn't want to get in the car. She wanted to fight in the driveway. I stood there and let the silence sit between us until the triplets started fussing, and then she climbed in muttering, "You think you're better than us?" "I think boundaries make me better to you," I said. She stared out the window. "You called a lawyer on your own mother." "I called a lawyer for myself," I said. "Mom can hire her own." The meeting was boring and necessary. Paperwork always is. We sat with a tired woman in a gray cardigan who had the softest voice I've ever heard in a government building. She talked about waitlists, emergency funds, and interim stability indicators, which is a nice phrase for, "Do you have somewhere safe to sleep tonight?" Carla answered questions with one-word answers until the woman asked, "Who has been your financial support?" Carla jerked her chin at me. "Him, the egoist." The woman didn't blink. "He's here," she said calmly. "Egoists don't usually show up." On the way home, Carla said nothing. At her building, she got out without looking at me. Then, quietly, like she was throwing a pebble into a lake to see how far it would ripple, she asked, "Do the boys have to call you Uncle Derek? Or can it just be Derek?" "Whatever they want," I said. She nodded once. "See you," she muttered. "See you," I said. That night, Mom called again. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listened. Her voice was tired. "You made your point. I'm still angry, but the boys ate pasta tonight." Carla filled out forms. People dropped off a crib. "You didn't come inside and fix it like usual." And somehow it got fixed anyway. A long breath. "Don't call me your mom if you're going to be cruel," she added automatically, like a reflex she couldn't help. Then softer, almost lost under the line static, "Bring the boys to the park on Saturday if you want." I saved the voicemail not because I needed it as evidence, but because it was the first time in a long time she'd offered me something that wasn't a bill. I used to think love meant yes. Now I think love means choices with edges. Here's what changed and what didn't. I didn't become rich or cold. I still clip coupons. I still send Carla lists of free meal locations when she asks. I still kneel on the sidewalk so 3 small boys can climb me like I'm a jungle gym. I still answer texts, but I answer them like a grown man who knows the cost of every click. My house is the same. The office is still my office. The spare bed is for friends who call ahead, not emergencies that explode on my porch. My front door camera still records, not because I'm paranoid, but because I'm done hoping people will choose to be fair when it's easier not to be. Mom and I talk in short, careful calls. We stick to weather, recipes, updates about the boys. When she starts a sentence with "you should," I say, "I won't," and let the silence do its work. Sometimes she hangs up. Sometimes she laughs in that brutal way that used to control me. Sometimes she says, "Okay," like the word tastes new. Carla and I are not friends. We are siblings with a treaty. We meet at the park. I bring fruit and a cheap soccer ball. She brings snacks she can afford. We do not talk about my house. We do not talk about credit. We talk about sleep schedules and shoes. The boys call me Derek, because one of them tried uncle, and it came out unlu, and we all laughed so hard we had to sit down. My lawyer, refuses pie when I bring it to the office because I don't negotiate for pastry, but she takes coffee and sends me articles to edit when my brain won't rest. My editor gave me a week off that I spent doing nothing glamorous. Laundry, sleep, long walks past other people's front yards where the grass is always a little messy, and you can tell someone is living a real life inside. The money part is simple now. I set up a fund that pays directly to daycare when needed. I capped it. I wrote the cap in thick marker on an index card and taped it inside my cabinet, next to the grocery list. Daycare cap $X/month. When it hits, it hits. Every time guilt whispers, I read the card. The cap holds. Family still tries little Tess. At Christmas, Mom said, "Your cousin needs a place to crash for a week." I said, "No." She waited. I didn't feel the silence. She sighed. "Fine." The world didn't end. The triplets still laughed at wrapping paper. People think the big moment was the plate. It wasn't. It was me not opening the door the next morning. It was me watching Carla climb into my car anyway for the meeting because the boys needed her to. It was me feeling awful and not fixing it with my wallet. It was me letting their discomfort teach them something that years of my rescue never did. There's a little moral in there. It's not fancy. It's not something you print in a frame and hang near your keys. It's this: I will help the children eat and sleep. I will not be the bank for adults. I will not be manipulated by the words family or love. I will not explain a boundary more than once. I will leave the room when the plate flies. I will call my lawyer when my name is used without my consent. I will choose peace over access. I used to walk into my mother's house with my shoulders tight, rehearsing every sentence. Now when I see the boys, I kneel first. I let them knock me over. I feel the weight of 3 small bodies and think, this is what I can carry. Then I stand up, hug them, and go home to my quiet 2-bedroom house I worked for. I lock my door not against love but for it. And when my phone buzzes with a message that starts, "You owe us," I smile a little, breathe, and type the same 2 words every time. No thanks. That's not vengeance. Have you ever had to choose between your own well-being and maintaining a difficult family dynamic? What did you gain or lose by setting that boundary? Tell me what you think in the comments. I truly want to hear what you think.